Hey language learners! Welcome to Readings in English, where learning English is anything but boring. We're ditching the dry textbooks and grammar drills in favor of captivating stories that will keep you hooked. Whether you're a beginner just starting out or looking to boost your fluency, we've got something for you. Get ready for exciting tales, fascinating characters, and a whole lot of fun as we explore the English language together. Subscribe now and let's embark on this exciting adventure. Eleanor Vance lived a life of quiet routine. The days unfolded in a predictable rhythm: the early morning commute to her small accounting firm, the precise lunch break at her favorite sandwich shop, the evening spent tending her modest garden and reading. She was content, or so she told herself. A deep-seated loneliness, however, often lingered beneath the surface, a quiet ache in the spaces between her carefully structured days. She had few close friends, her family scattered and largely estranged. She preferred the company of books and the solitude of her own thoughts. Then the letter arrived. It was a crisp autumn afternoon, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. The postman, a burly man with a perpetually tired expression, deposited it on her doorstep with a cursory thud. The envelope was thick, cream-colored, and bore an unfamiliar script. There was no return address, only a series of elegant flourishes that seemed to whisper of a hidden history. A strange premonition settled in Eleanor's stomach, a feeling of unease that prickled her skin. She held the letter in her hands, feeling its weight, the subtle texture of the paper against her fingertips. Inside, she found a legal document written in formal language, announcing an inheritance and the existence of relatives she never knew. The initial shock gave way to a mixture of confusion and disbelief. The letter detailed a substantial sum of money and a property, a house in a small, unfamiliar town left to her by a distant relative, a great-aunt she'd never heard of. The lawyer's letter outlined the legal process, the details of the inheritance, and requested her presence at his office to discuss the matter further. Eleanor stared at the document, her mind struggling to process the information. This was a life-altering event, a disruption of the carefully constructed order of her existence. Fear mixed with a flicker of excitement. The fear of the unknown, of stepping outside her carefully constructed comfort zone, and the thrill of the unexpected, of a life potentially transformed. The quiet predictability of her life was suddenly shattered, replaced by a swirling vortex of uncertainty and possibility. She sat in silence, the letter lying open on her lap, the weight of its implications pressing down on her. This was more than just money. This was a legacy, a connection to a past she never knew. The following days were a blur of research and frantic inquiries. Eleanor, a woman of meticulous habits, approached the task with her usual precision. She delved into dusty genealogy websites, meticulously piecing together the fragments of her family history. She discovered faded photographs, cryptic journal entries, and conflicting family stories, each adding a new layer to the enigma of her unexpected inheritance. The more she learned, the more intrigued and simultaneously apprehensive she became. The trail led to a small, picturesque town nestled in the heart of a verdant valley, a place called Oakhaven, a name that evoked a sense of both tranquility and mystery. The lawyer's letter provided the contact details of a local solicitor in Oakhaven, A.M.R. Harding. Eleanor made an appointment, her heart pounding in her chest as she booked a train ticket. She felt a strange pull towards this unknown town, a sense of destiny, or perhaps just morbid curiosity, driving her forward. The thought of facing her unknown relatives filled her with a mixture of dread and anticipation. What would they be like? Would they welcome her, or would they view her as an intruder, a stranger claiming a piece of their family history? She packed a small suitcase, her mind racing with 1,000 unspoken questions. She spent hours poring over old maps, studying the layout of Oakhaven, its winding streets and quaint architecture. She imagined the house left to her, a place steeped in history, possibly filled with secrets and forgotten memories. She wondered about the life of her great-aunt, the woman whose unexpected generosity had thrown Eleanor's life into such unexpected chaos. The journey itself felt like a journey into the unknown, a voyage into the depths of her own family history, a history that had remained shrouded in silence until now. As the train pulled away from the station, Eleanor felt a wave of both excitement and trepidation wash over her, a sense of anticipation mixed with a healthy dose of apprehension for what awaited her in Oakhaven. She knew her life was about to change, irrevocably. The train journey was long, the landscape shifting gradually from the bustling city to the rolling hills and verdant valleys of the countryside. Eleanor watched the scenery unfold outside her window, the rhythmic clatter of the train a counterpoint to the turbulent emotions within her. The initial excitement had begun to give way to a quiet apprehension. The further she traveled, the more real the prospect of confronting her unknown relatives became. What if they didn't want her there? What if they resented her claim to their family history and the inheritance that came with it? She spent the journey lost in thought, reviewing the scant information she had gleaned from her research. The few photographs she had found revealed little about her great-aunt, a woman named Clara, who seemed to have lived a life both secluded and enigmatic. There were glimpses of a younger Clara, a vibrant woman with a mischievous glint in her eyes, but the later photographs showed a more reserved, almost austere figure. The contrast between the two images hinted at a life lived with both joy and sorrow, a life that held secrets Eleanor was only beginning to uncover. As the train approached Oakhaven, the landscape became increasingly picturesque. The town was nestled in a valley, surrounded by gently sloping hills and a meandering river. The air was crisp and clean, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth. The buildings were quaint and charming, many of them dating back centuries, their weathered stone facades telling silent stories of generations past. Eleanor felt a strange sense of anticipation, a mixture of excitement and trepidation, as the train slowed to a halt at the small, unassuming station. Stepping onto the platform, she felt the cool autumn air against her skin. The quiet tranquility of the town was a stark contrast to the bustling city she had left behind. She breathed deeply, filling her lungs with the clean, crisp air, and allowed herself a moment to appreciate the serenity of her surroundings. Yet, beneath the surface of the tranquility, a current of uncertainty still flowed. The town held an air of mystery, its quiet charm masking a hidden depth, a secret history that Eleanor was about to become a part of. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges and revelations that awaited her in this unfamiliar place. She clutched her small suitcase, a symbol of her journey into the unknown, and began to walk towards the town, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. Mar. Harding's office was a small, unassuming space above a bakery, the aroma of freshly baked bread mingling with the scent of old paper and legal documents. He was a kindly man with silver hair and a warm smile, his manner reassuring despite the gravity of the situation. He explained the details of the inheritance once more, clarifying any ambiguities and answering Eleanor's questions with patience and professionalism. He then introduced the concept of family meetings to discuss the estate and the future of the property. The meeting with Eleanor's relatives was held in the local community hall, a spacious room with high ceilings and large windows that overlooked the town square. The atmosphere was tense, a mixture of curiosity and apprehension hanging heavy in the air. Eleanor found herself surrounded by a group of people she'd never met before. Her newfound relatives, their faces a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. There was a mix of ages, from elderly aunts and uncles to younger cousins, each with their own distinct personalities and reactions to her arrival. Among them, two figures stood out, a stern older woman named Agnes, who seemed to regard Eleanor with open hostility, and a younger man named Thomas, whose initial apprehension gradually gave way to a hesitant curiosity. Agnes, clearly the matriarch of the family, voiced her disapproval of Eleanor's sudden appearance, questioning her right to the inheritance and the property. Thomas, on the other hand, seemed more open, his eyes reflecting a cautious interest. He was a quiet observer, his presence a contrast to Agnes' outspoken disapproval. The meeting was a mixture of polite formalities and underlying tensions. Eleanor tried to make a good impression, but the atmosphere remained strained, a testament to the complex and often fractured nature of family relationships. The meeting adjourned without any resolution, leaving Eleanor feeling more uncertain than ever. She left the hall with a sense of unease, the weight of the family's skepticism pressing down on her. Yet, despite the initial coldness, a flicker of hope remained. Thomas's quiet curiosity suggested a possibility of connection, a chance to build a relationship that could bridge the gap between her and her newfound family. She decided to explore the house left to her, hoping to find some clue to understand her family history better and perhaps to find a way to connect with them. Oakhaven House was a grand old Victorian mansion, its imposing facade hinting at a history both rich and complex. The house stood on a hill overlooking the town, its tall windows gazing out at the sprawling landscape. As Eleanor approached the house, she felt a wave of apprehension wash over her. The house seemed to exude an aura of mystery, its silence hinting at untold stories and hidden secrets. The front door creaked open with a mournful groan, revealing a spacious hallway filled with antique furniture draped in white sheets. Dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight that pierced the gloom, illuminating the ornate carvings on the walls and the intricate patterns of the patterned carpets. Eleanor stepped inside, the silence amplifying the sound of her own footsteps. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and aged paper, a faint aroma of lavender lingering in the corners. She felt a sense of unease, a feeling of being watched, of being surrounded by unseen eyes. She began to explore the house, room by room, carefully removing the white sheets from the furniture. Each room held its own unique character, a reflection of the lives that had once been lived within its walls. In the library, she found shelves filled with leather-bound books, their pages yellowed with age. Many of the books were about local history and genealogy, hinting at the possibility of discovering more about her family's past. In the drawing room, she discovered a hidden compartment in an old writing desk, revealing a collection of letters and photographs. These documents provided a glimpse into the lives of previous generations, hinting at long-forgotten family dramas and unspoken secrets. The photographs showed Clara at various stages of her life, from a young, vivacious woman to an elderly lady with a wistful expression. The letters were written in elegant cursive script, their contents hinting at complex family relationships and hidden betrayals. As Eleanor read through the letters, she began to unravel the secrets of her family's past, piecing together a narrative that was both fascinating and disturbing. She learned about her great-aunt's life, her loves, her losses, and the secrets she had carried with her to her grave. With each discovery, Eleanor felt a growing sense of connection to her family history, a sense of belonging she had never experienced before. She realized that her inheritance was not just about money and property, but also about uncovering the truth about her family's past and finding her place within its complex tapestry. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the rooms, Eleanor paused, feeling a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. She had only just begun to scratch the surface of the mysteries held within Oakhaven House, but she knew that her journey of discovery had only just begun. The following days were spent immersed in research. Eleanor meticulously examined the documents she had found, piecing together the fragmented narrative of her family's history. She visited the local library, poring over old newspapers and historical records, seeking further clues about her great-aunt Clara and her relatives. She discovered that Clara had been a respected member of the community, a woman known for her kindness and generosity. However, she also learned about a hidden side to Clara's life, a side that was shrouded in secrecy and mystery. Her research revealed a long-standing feud between two branches of the family, a conflict that had spanned generations. The feud involved a bitter dispute over land and inheritance, a conflict that had left deep scars on the family's history. The details of the conflict were scarce, shrouded in a veil of silence and unspoken resentments. Eleanor learned about a lost love, a betrayal, and a legacy of mistrust that had poisoned the family relationships for decades. She also discovered that Clara had been involved in a clandestine affair, a secret romance that had been kept hidden from the rest of the family. The details of the affair were vague, but it was clear that it had had a profound impact on Clara's life, shaping her personality and influencing her decisions. Eleanor found herself increasingly drawn into the complexities of her family's past, feeling a growing sense of empathy for her great-aunt and the burdens she had carried. The more she learned, the more she realized that the inheritance was not just about money and property, but about confronting a painful family history and coming to terms with the legacy of the past. The shadows of the past loomed large, casting a long shadow over the present, and Eleanor knew that she had to face these shadows if she was ever going to find peace and reconciliation. The weight of the family secrets weighed heavily on her, but she was determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. She knew that understanding her family's past was the key to understanding herself and her place within the family. She also knew that uncovering the truth would not be easy. She would have to navigate a minefield of unspoken resentments and long-held grudges, but she was determined to persevere. Amongst the distant relatives, one figure stood out: Thomas Ashton, Clara's nephew, a man in his late 60s with kind eyes and a gentle demeanor. Unlike the other relatives, who seemed guarded and suspicious of Eleanor's arrival, Thomas displayed a quiet curiosity and a willingness to share what he knew about Clara and their family history. He was a retired history professor, a man of quiet intellect and deep empathy, and he possessed a wealth of knowledge about Oak Haven and its people. Their initial conversations were tentative, filled with cautious politeness and a mutual sense of uncertainty. However, as they spent more time together, a bond began to form between them. Thomas shared stories about Clara, anecdotes that revealed a woman of great strength and resilience, despite the hardships she had faced. He spoke of her kindness, her generosity, and her deep love for her family, even as she struggled with the weight of past grievances. He also revealed details about the family feud, filling in the gaps in Eleanor's research. He spoke of the bitter dispute over land, a conflict that had torn the family apart generations ago. He spoke of the lost love, the betrayal, and the legacy of mistrust that had poisoned family relationships. He spoke of the secrets that had been kept hidden for decades, secrets that had shaped the lives of everyone involved. Through Thomas, Eleanor began to understand the complexities of her family's past, the motivations of her relatives, and the reasons behind their guardedness. He helped her to see the human side of the conflict, the pain and suffering that had been inflicted, and the enduring impact of past grievances. He helped her to understand the weight of the family's history and the need for reconciliation. Their conversations were often punctuated by silences, moments of reflection where they both grappled with the emotional weight of the past. But in those silences, a tentative bridge began to form between them, a bridge of understanding and empathy that offered a glimmer of hope for the future. Thomas's willingness to share his knowledge and his empathy towards Eleanor began to chip away at the wall of suspicion that had separated the family for so long. He became a guide, a mentor, and a friend, helping Eleanor to navigate the complexities of her family history and to find her place within its complex tapestry. The revelation of the family secret, however, did not come without conflict. As Eleanor delved deeper into her family's history, she discovered that the land dispute was far more complex than she had initially imagined. She uncovered evidence of a hidden will, a document that challenged the existing inheritance arrangements and threatened to reignite the old feud. This discovery ignited a fierce conflict amongst the family members, each one clinging to their own interpretation of the evidence and their own sense of entitlement. Accusations flew, old grievances were aired, and the atmosphere became charged with tension. The confrontation took place during a tense family dinner, a gathering that was intended to be a celebration of the inheritance, but quickly devolved into a bitter argument. Eleanor found herself caught in the crossfire, her attempts at mediation proving futile as the family members hurled accusations and insults at each other. The dinner table became a battleground, the clinking of cutlery a jarring counterpoint to the raised voices and simmering resentments. The air was thick with hostility, the silence punctuated by sharp words and bitter recriminations. Eleanor struggled to maintain her composure, her attempts at diplomacy thwarted by the intensity of the conflict. She felt the weight of the family's history pressing down on her, the legacy of mistrust and resentment threatening to overwhelm her. She felt the pain of the family's fractured relationships, the deep wounds that had been inflicted over the years. In the midst of the chaos, however, a crucial revelation emerged. A long-hidden secret was finally brought to light, a secret that had been guarded for generations. The revelation changed everything, shifting the dynamics of the conflict and forcing the family members to re-evaluate their positions. The truth, once revealed, had the power to heal old wounds and to foster a sense of understanding and reconciliation. The revelation also brought a sense of closure, a sense of resolution that had long been absent from the family's history. The conflict, though intense, had ultimately served as a catalyst for change, paving the way for a new chapter in the family's story, a chapter marked by hope and the possibility of healing. The weight of the past still lingered, but it no longer held the same power to divide and destroy. A glimmer of hope emerged from the ashes of the conflict, a possibility of reconciliation and a renewed sense of family unity. The aftermath of the explosive family dinner was a period of quiet reflection and soul-searching. The revelation of the long-hidden secret had shaken the family to its core, forcing each member to confront their own biases, prejudices, and the legacy of past hurts. Eleanor, having witnessed the intensity of the conflict, took a step back, allowing the family time to process the information and to come to terms with the implications of the truth. She spent her days exploring the town of Oakhaven further, discovering its hidden charms and connecting with its residents. She learned about its history, its traditions, and the lives of the people who called it home. Through these interactions, she gained a deeper understanding of the context of her family's history, the forces that had shaped their lives, and the reasons behind their actions. She began to see the human side of the conflict, the struggles and sacrifices that had been made, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Meanwhile, the family members began to reach out to each other, initiating conversations that had been avoided for years. Thomas, ever the peacemaker, played a crucial role in facilitating these conversations, encouraging open communication and empathy. He helped the family members to understand each other's perspectives, to acknowledge their shared history, and to forgive past hurts. The process was slow and challenging, but as the days turned into weeks, a gradual shift began to occur. The grudges began to soften, resentments began to fade, and a sense of understanding began to emerge. The family members started to see each other not as adversaries, but as fellow members of a shared history. They began to appreciate the strength of their familial bonds and the importance of preserving their heritage. They began to heal, to move beyond the hurts of the past, and to embrace a new future together. Eleanor, observing these transformations, felt a sense of profound satisfaction. She had not only inherited a fortune and a house, but also a family, a connection to a history she had never known, and a sense of belonging she had longed for. The journey had been arduous, but the rewards were immeasurable. The weight of the past still lingered, but it no longer held the same power to divide and destroy. A glimmer of hope emerged from the ashes of the conflict, a possibility of reconciliation and a renewed sense of family unity. With the family conflicts resolved, Eleanor began to focus on the future. She decided to renovate Oakhaven House, transforming it into a welcoming home that reflected the spirit of reconciliation and new beginnings. She hired local craftsmen, supporting the community and creating a sense of shared purpose. The renovation process became a symbol of the family's journey towards healing, a collaborative effort that brought them closer together. As the house underwent its transformation, so did the family. They started to plan shared activities, creating new traditions and memories. They spent time together, sharing stories, celebrating milestones, and forging deeper bonds. Eleanor, feeling a sense of belonging she had never known, actively participated in these activities, sharing her own experiences and creating a sense of inclusion. She became a bridge between the generations, connecting the past with the present and fostering a sense of continuity. The once isolated Eleanor discovered a profound sense of connection to her family and to the community of Oakhaven. The quiet life she had once cherished was now enriched by meaningful relationships and shared experiences. She had discovered a sense of purpose, a reason for being that extended beyond her individual existence. She had found a home, not just in Oakhaven House, but in the hearts of her newly discovered family. The unexpected inheritance had brought about more than just financial security. It had brought about healing, reconciliation, and a sense of belonging that transcended material wealth. The future held uncertainty, of course, but it was a future she faced with newfound confidence and a deep sense of gratitude. The legacy of Clara, her great-aunt, lived on, not just in the old house, but in the newly forged bonds of a family reunited and healed. The past was acknowledged, its lessons learned, but the future beckoned with the promise of a new chapter, a chapter filled with hope, love, and a renewed sense of family.